y'all, what the hell is going up? This is Wild Phil with Wild Philosophy, and today I'm going to make a mental health video. Before you change anything, before you change the channel, I want to tell you right now, by watching this video, I actually guarantee you that your day is going to be at least, your life is going to be at least 20% better. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And if it doesn't work for you, comment, bro, because I guarantee it, okay? And I want to help people out. What is this video going to be about? The idea of permanence, the idea habits intertwining with permanence, and the warrior story. What does that mean? Let me explain. If you're still listening, I'm telling you, this is going to get you out of that bad place. So let's get started. What does permanence mean? Well, you know, I've always been a philosophical person. And one thing that I've observed is that in our society, I call it white society. It's really Western society. It's not shitting on white people, nothing. No, it's the thriving society. America, Europe, Canada, those are the thriving societies, you know? And in those societies, we have a very, you know, I'm not going to get into the whole idea. A lot of it is influenced by Abrahamic religions. Abrahamic religions fucking suck, okay? What are the three Abrahamic religions? Christianity, Judaism, Islam. They all judge everything by extremes. Everything is us versus them, black versus white, red versus blue. You know, and life isn't about extremes. There's a gray area. There's actually a lot of gray areas. And these religions didn't understand that, and that's why there's still wars being fought about it. It's that primitive. And so because everything was judged by extremes in movies, I was raised by movies. I'm the 90s kid. I'm the 90s latchkey kid. TV was my babysitter. Nobody gave a shit about me. I loved movies. I'm a film nerd. And what happened is, the problem of being raised by movies, I kind of got groomed into thinking about the idea of permanence. Now, what does the idea of permanence mean? What it means is that whatever feeling you're feeling, whether it's horrendously devastating, bad, or really, really good, it's not permanent. And just thinking about that, already that will make you 20% better, but we're going to keep going. I'm going to explain it more, permanence and the warrior story. But what permanence means is this. How many movies have you seen? There's a happy ending. I'm not talking about what happens at the end of a nail salon. Know what I mean? No, I'm talking about movies. Like how many movies do you know it ends and you're, oh, that was such a happy ending. And seeing all those fucking movies fucked us up. Because we think there's a happy ending. And you know what example I always love using is Forrest Gump. Why do I like using Forrest Gump? Because, truthfully, as much as people have joked about it, parodies, the truth is it's a beautiful movie. It was a beautiful movie. Here's this mentally challenged person who, by his absolutely unrealistic but goofy luck, he lived an amazing life. A life that probably, not most, all mentally challenged people don't live. They have a hard life. But here's this beautiful movie about he lived this beautiful life. You know, he did all these things that, you know, 9 lives, you know. And the reason why I say that is, how does the movie end? He does all these wonderful things. He's in the army. He meets all these famous people. He's you know, he meets the president. And then in the end, it's like, you know, he lives a happy, you know, Jenny, who's supposed to be this bitch, you know, dies off, but he has this son, and it's a happy ending, right? Happy ending. Permanence. What if there was a Forrest Gump sequel, and you find out that Forrest Gump was actually such an amazing sociopath? He was actually normal all along, and he was just pretending to be mentally challenged. Is it a happy ending? What if you found that out? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Movies gave us this ridiculously stupid, unlogical idea that here's this ending, and it's just happy forever. It's happy forever. That's the way it is. That's bullshit. That's why this Forrest Gump sequel, if he was a sociopath posing as a mentally challenged person, is fucked up, because that's about permanence. It didn't just end there. You don't know what he did in his life. Maybe it was bad. Maybe it was good. Who knows? Maybe it was boring as fuck. The point is, anything that you are going through, it's not permanent. It's not permanent. That's why even like, well, the one thing that really scared the shit out of me was when I was thinking about my wife, having a partner. How is this love? It's not permanent. See, once again, I'm thinking in extremes. It's not permanent. So that must mean it's going to be horrendous. No, it just means it's not going to be the same. And that's the truth. When you first go out with somebody, the way you feel in those first like 3 months, you will never feel that way again unless you have like Alzheimer's and you forget about it. And every time you see them, she likes me. I've liked you for 23 years. You fucking messed up. You know, like it's like nothing is permanent. So I had to find so when I found a partner, I needed to find somebody who would flow down that lazy river with me. Where it's like when my love is turning into this, she's on the same page with me. It isn't permanent. Roll with it, right? It isn't permanent. But you keep flowing. You keep flowing, and things are always going to change. That's the funniest thing is the people who are stubborn, resistant to change. That's why they're miserable, because everything is growing, getting better around them, and they're just fucking moping around and digging themselves a bigger hole. Wow, I almost thought I said a different word there. Anyways, so so what I'm saying is that whatever you are going through, it's not permanent. It's not permanent. And I say this because now I want to transfer into this idea of habits. What I meant by habits what I really meant is calendar marking. Every person, no matter what you're going through, you should have a fucking schedule. Set goals, even if they're the smallest goals. It helps so much. And what I'm talking about is this. Things not being permanent. Like so let's, before we leave the idea of permanence, I want to talk about, look, even good things aren't permanent. That's why I can't tell you how many comedy sets I've had, very few, where I've absolutely crushed. And I was like, the only way I could feel this well is if somebody killed me right now and I never did a comedy set again. That's why you got to keep growing. Even the good things aren't permanent, but that might be a good thing because they might be better next time. Now let's talk about bad things. Here's what happened. Here's one of the lowest points in my entire life. I've mentioned this many times. I have no problem sharing it. All of my family died off in 2019, 5 members in 1 year. I was over-medicated. I got a psychiatrist who was a corporate drug dealer cunt, and he gave me, I thought I had, like what I had was very basic internal depression. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, how do I explain this? Not internal, external depression. It was caused by outside events that are out of my control. Meaning if I didn't feel depressed from 5 deaths, there'd be a different problem. I'm a fucking sociopath. So really all I had to do was time. I really should have just marked the date and time. Now what happened to me, unfortunately, he prescribed, I had regular grieving depression. He prescribed me a schizophrenic pill. I ended up gaining 100 pounds from it. And I became, I developed agoraphobia in a month, and I had to come off of this medicine, and it was incredibly hard. If you want to see that whole journey, I have a video about it. Don't take the Zyprexa and olanzapine. But the point is, what did I do? I heard Zyprexa was harder to come off of than heroin. So what did I do? I looked up. How long does it take for this pill to get out of your system so that you don't have withdrawals, so that it doesn't fuck you up? And it said that there were people who were on it for 5 years, and it took them 3 months of withdrawals. 3 fucking months. Think about that. Even in the movie Train Spotting, when he's getting off of heroin, that was like he locks himself up for a week, with the baby crawling on the ceiling. So I was like, all right. Luckily, it's lockdown. We're unemployed. We got stimulus checks. I got to lock myself up, Train Spotting style, but I got to do it for 3 months. And what did I do? Very simple thing. Setting small goals. Each week I wrote down, and I'm telling you, the withdrawals were so horrible. You can watch that video. I was crying every 2 hours for no reason. I just had literally if you're afraid of heights, picture every 2 hours you're looking over the ledge of a building, or you're walking up a ladder that's 4 stories high. That's how I felt every 2 hours. It was horrible. But what did I tell myself in my mind? I go, whatever it was, I think it was December. I was like, March 21st. It is December 21st. March 21st, I'm going to be at least 20% better. And each week, like the first week, I said, how do I feel like I don't want to live anymore? How much satisfaction am I getting out of life? I was at a 1. And by 3-4 weeks, I was at like 7. I was at like 7. Because every morning I woke up, I'm like, man, this is hard as fuck. But shit, this feels good. This feels good. Most people don't make it out of this, but I am. And not only that, this is the hardest fucking thing I'm ever going to go through in my life. If I live through this. And I can make videos like this. And that's what I did. And sure enough, I mean, it got out of my system in like February. I conquered that shit in February, and I felt great. I was fine. And that's all it takes is write down shit on your calendar. Write it down. Set a goal. Whatever you're going through, whether you're going through a breakup, a death, anything, any possible, I don't know what to mention, rape, anything. Always remember, because when people are devastated, I'm not downsizing whatever the fuck it is you're going through. What I'm saying is it ain't worth killing yourself, because literally all it takes is time to heal. Time, the healing power of nothing, just time. You get a few days and you're going to be feeling better. You see how many weeks it'll go up where you feel better. And of course, you probably should distract yourself. You probably should work out. Definitely don't dwell about it. But just tell yourself, all right, I'm going to make this decision in 3 months. Till then, I'm going to go on walks, anything. So that's the idea of marking your calendar and believing that things are not permanent. They're not permanent. Now, we're already 12 minutes in. I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to try and end it at 20. I want to talk about the warrior story. What is the warrior story? This coincides with everything. I want anybody listening to this to think of what warrior coincides with your culture. This is what my therapist told me. He goes, what warrior coincides with their culture? If you're white Slavic, it's usually Viking. If you're Hispanic, it's probably like a Native American Aztec. If you're Asian, it's probably like a samurai. Whatever it is, whatever warrior you look up to. Maybe you're a nerd and you look up to Star Wars. I don't know. But point is, think of that warrior and think of what they do. What they do, let's say for me it was Vikings, right? What did Vikings do? They would charge in like Braveheart style with these fucking axes, hacking people to, literally being drenched in people's blood. Literally, it was harder to swing that axe every time because other people's blood was sapping and drying like syrup on their body. And then at the end of the day, what do? They sit around a fire because they're victorious, stitching up their wounds, icing, bruises and stuff, trying to relax, getting ready to eating chicken around a fireplace. And what's always there? The elder telling the warrior story to keep everybody's morale up, right? And here's what happened. The problem was, because I was raised in this Abrahamic Us versus them, black and white, red and blue, Republican, Democrat, like this dualist fucking system. I could never really like everything that I talked about was up and down, up and down, up and down, like a fucking stock market. Like I would tell people something, the most simplest thing. Hey, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. I mean, we went out to eat and it was delicious food. But then the next day I shat myself. But then, oh man, I ended up seeing a movie that I really liked and it was amazing. But man, I gained like 2 pounds. Like it was always up and down, always up and down. There's a reason why they don't make movies that are up and down like that, because nobody wants to see that shit. They want to hear your warrior story. That's what warrior story means. They want to hear your warrior story. Listen, I'm a fucking wild comedian. I always compare the warrior story to eating pussy or black metal music. Why? Because both, you start out slow. You start out at the bottom and you progress your way up. You know? That's what black metal is. It starts out with like a little drum roll. It's the difference between black metal and death metal. Death metal is just the whole fucking song. There's no dynamics. It's those like worker dudes. I can't imagine how they are in the bedroom, because it's those like union worker dudes who think that sex is just a fucking machine to keep the wife happy. Like black metal is like the progressive, like, you know what I mean? It's building and it's getting better and better and better and better, It's like eating that thing, You just start off a little slow, and by the end, that tongue is flapping like the mud flaps on the back of a semi. Know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what your warrior story needs to be. If any other, okay, I'm a Skyrim nerd. What's the Skyrim story? How does the video game Skyrim start? Right? What happens? You're a barbarian slave that got captured because you did something. I forgot what it is. It's like you stole bread because your family's starving. So how does it start? You're in the back of a carriage and you're getting driven to the gallows to get hung. But instead, a dragon attacks and destroys the gallows, so you get to escape. And that's your warrior story, because you started as a slave barbarian ready to get fucking executed, and now what happens in Skyrim? First you do missions for people, then you become the town, hero, because you're doing all these missions for the people in the city, and then you become this fucking warrior. That's the warrior story. That's what people want to hear. People want to hear, I used to be started from the bottom, now we're here. That's what people want to fucking hear. And everybody, every single person out there, literally do this. Get a notebook out, sit down, write your own warrior story. Write your own warrior story. And if you need an example, here's my warrior story, okay? I grew up doomed. When you want to talk about some, doofus like Ben Shapiro who believes in nothing but statistics, facts don't care about your feelings, because humans don't have feelings. We're not fucking robots, bro, okay? Even fucking robots break down if they don't get oiled by humans, okay? But let's talk about the statistics. What were the statistics? Every single fucking person told me. They're like, dude, you're an immigrant. English is your second language. You're in a single mother home. You got kidnapped. You got beaten by your parents. You're either, like, by this age, I should have either been a serial killer, in jail, or a drug addict. And I've never been none of the above. I mean, I've never been any of the above. Still learning English. You know what I mean? Like, I defied the fucking statistics. That's my warrior story. That all this fucking shit happened. I was surrounded by all these toxic, fucked up people, these parents who shouldn't have been parents. My parents were basically Polacks that would be on Jerry Springer. You shouldn't have had kids. And look at what I've overcome because of it. Look at who I am today. Who am I? That's my warrior story. I came from the I remember living in apartments in Chicago with 20 other illegal Polacks, because we were all saving up money to thrive in this country. I remember getting my ass kicked by my dad. I remember being locked in my room for 8 hours at a time, shitting my fucking pants because my mom wouldn't let me out. Getting beat up, getting kidnapped, getting bullied, all these things. And who am I now? How many people at 36 can say they've released 14 music albums? 2 years into comedy, I've already shared stages with people that I admire. I have a family, and I love my family. We all get along. I've never been closer to anybody than my wife and my kid. As far as my other family, my brother and I, we've never gotten along more than right now. There is, I literally, if somebody was like, yo, man, I wish I won the lottery, I don't really need it. I have everything that brings me happy. That's my fucking warrior story. That's where I am today. And that's what you need to do. You don't have to be me. You could be like, bro, this is where I used to be, and now I'm here. Do that. Write it down. Anything. I have a friend of mine who is a horrible drug addict. And I'm like, dude, look at where you're at now. Look at where you're at now. You have a fucking career. You're not a drug addict. You're not living in trap houses getting fucking diseases because you're falling asleep on a couch with the spring sticking out that some crack whore cut her ass open on. You have a career, you're saving up money, and you're doing great in comedy. You should be fucking proud of yourself. He's doing so well. People think that when he talks about having a drug problem, they think he's like joking or like lying, like making it up. They can't fucking believe it. Be fucking proud of that and keep conquering. That's writing those warrior stories down. That's what starts your level of confidence. Makes you realize, like, holy shit, if I just keep going, I'll be set. So, to summarize this video, guys? Nothing is permanent. That doesn't mean you can't grow, because think about it. What happens to a plant? It's either always wilting or it's always growing. You get to decide what you want to do. Do you want to wilt or do you want to grow? Nothing is permanent. Number 2, set small goals. Mark it in your fucking calendar. Anything. Anything. Like I said, my life is fucking happy as fuck. I still set goals. I told myself I lost 20 fucking pounds by doing Nutrisystem and working out. And you know how I did it? What I'm doing is I've heard a lot of people just walking. They say you should do 10,000 steps a day just to keep maintenance. So what am I doing? I'm trying to reach 25,000. Why? Because that's what John Goodman did. And look at how much he lost, like 300 pounds. That's right now I'm at 15,000. I'm going to reach 25,000 by the end of the year. That's my goal. I'm writing it down on a calendar. And it feels great. Feels anything. And you don't have to, like, that's a huge fucking thing. You do any goal. Just be like, today, I'm going to make myself a meal that I've never made before, step out of my comfort zone, and just try it. Even if it's a disaster, it'll be a funny-ass fucking story. Nothing is permanent. Set small goals. Write your own warrior story. And be proud of it. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.